What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tonyd2wild checking in once again with a review of the upcoming Air Max 95 Atlanta. What's going on, everybody, man? I hope y'all had a blessed Easter, and this is probably one of the last times you see this room as it is. We're gonna be doing a humongous room construction, studio renovation, and you guys will be seeing it more than likely by the end of this week going into next week. I wanted to get the review out though on the Air Max 95 Atlanta. Now these are releasing on April 4th, AKA 404 day, but there's also a release going on and an experience and activation with SolePlay on April 3rd. So basically you can get these a day earlier at both of the SolePlay locations in Lawrenceville as well as in Decatur. Now when I first showed the shoe on my channel, which was last week, I'm not gonna lie, I went a little off on it. I was a little upset with this shoe when I first saw it, didn't like it, talked bad about it, said it was ugly. And mainly due to the fact that I felt like it did not have a good representation of Atlanta. Like when I saw it, it didn't speak to me Atlanta. At the same time, I come to you guys here today and say that I was wrong. I didn't do my research. At the time of making that video, though, there wasn't any actual storytelling or theme behind the shoe at that time. And now that there has been that pushed out, it makes a little bit more sense on why they chose these shoes at the end of the day. Now last year we had the Nike Dunk and the Air Force One that also looked a lot like this as far as the color scheme. It was like a red chili and then an orange. They dropped it in the Air Force One and the Nike Dunk. So when I saw this color right here and that gradient transition, I was like, man, they're just doing the same exact thing as last year. It's a repeat. So that also kind of made me upset. But SolePlay, Wish, A Ma Maniere, and Walters all came together in a collaborative effort to make and design this shoe. I want to say last year, Nike's constantly been trying to, you know, get deep rooted in the city of Atlanta, just also be a part of the culture here and pay its respect and do those type of collaborations with the city of Atlanta. But last year they came down, did a little bit of touring around the city, learning about the city, learning about some of the good spots, learning about some of the, you know, the memorabilia of the city itself. And from what I can see, obviously with this, they came to the statue of the Phoenix, Atlanta from the ashes. And the Phoenix is actually a statue that was gifted from the Riches Foundation. If you remember Riches, you guys might have remembered the store Riches and the department store Riches, which is now basically Macy's. Riches commemorated this statue for its 100th year anniversary. And it was the Phoenix, the Atlanta from the ashes, which was debuted in 1969. However, it was renovated once again and like put back out, and I believe even moved during 1995, right before the 1996 Olympics. Like it came back out once again, and it's a symbol of Atlanta's reemergence from the ashes, the fires, the destruction that was caused during the Civil War, when the North versus the South, and Atlanta being pretty much bombarded and destroyed through the war. Back then, and even still now to this day, Atlanta has always been a very humongous hub for the South. Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, the airport is still, from the last time I checked, the busiest airport in the world. For sure, the busiest airport in America. I want to say the world still to this day. But even back then, it was the busy transportation for the railroads. So one of the big ways that the North crippled the South was by destroying a lot of the railways and stopping that transportation of goods, transportation of armory, just transportation all in general to the southern states. And with that destruction and the Phoenix rising from the ashes is showing that even though the ashes, this gray that is symbolized here on the top as well as on the toe cap, you have the flames and the fire from the Phoenix bird coming without and showing this beautiful creation that was risen from the once deconstruction of the city of Atlanta. So I can understand it. I respect the story. I like the story, and it does now make a lot of sense. One in particular, the Phoenix on the back of the shoe with the ATL. So that's why you see here the gray, which is symbolizing those ashes, and the fire from the reds, orange, light orange, and these are pretty much like 3 different colors of oranges here. And then you got that gradient colorway going on there as the color of that phoenix. You know, if you know what a phoenix looks like, it's a bird that is, it's like a bird that's on fire. The original monument itself was actually put on Martin Luther King Drive and Spring Street from 1969 to 1995. And then in 1995 was moved to Woodruff Park. So now knowing about this shoe, I can totally get behind it. I can totally respect it. And I can totally say I was wrong, you know? And trust me, you know, I'm here to admit my faults at the end of the day. I initially said though that the shoe is a nice colorway, but I just didn't see what was Atlanta about it. But now knowing the story, something that I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I knew about this story, but I knew about the statue, I just didn't know the story behind the statue. Because actually during the Olympics in '96, I was all throughout the city of Atlanta as a kid. I was like 5 years old, my grandfather took me everywhere. So I knew about about this statue. I actually done video content before I even did YouTube at Woodruff Park, back when a lot of the homeless were actually setting up tents at Woodruff Park. Like there was a whole, I forgot the specific name, there was a whole movement going on though, and I actually filmed down there, did some interviews with some people, and I shot a music video down there at Woodruff Park when it was tinted up, completely tinted. I think it was Operation Exposed or what? Hold on, I gotta check it out. I'm looking at it right here, but basically tents removed from Woodruff Park. This is back in 2012, back when I was saying like this is back then. It was a specific little movement basically going on, and basically what was trying to be shown is the home, you know, this people within the city try to feel as if Atlanta was trying to hide, like trying to look like this great grandiose city, which it is, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of homelessness going on. Same thing we see happen in like places like LA, you know, where the city wants to make everything super clean and hide the, you know, the low employment, the high homelessness and those type of numbers. So the homeless went right into the smack of the city and placed tents and, you know, lived and stayed there to showcase that and kind of make a statement. But during that part, what I'm trying to say is that is where the Phoenix statue is at this time. On the bottom of the shoe, you have that like symbolization of that Phoenix right there, that fire. You also have these insoles that have that same fire coming right there. So you got that flame coming out to represent, once again, coming from the ashes. I love my city of Atlanta, bro. I love the city. I would not live anywhere else at the end of the day. I love LA, I love New York, I love all the other places out there, but Georgia and Atlanta, and when I say Atlanta, I mean Atlanta, because I've lived in Atlanta. I lived in Decatur, I lived in Atlanta, I lived in Stone Mountain, I lived in Snellville, I lived in numerous different places within the city of Georgia, in general, in Atlanta, Georgia, Decatur, more, those two, you know, Decatur and Atlanta itself have been, there's no other place like it, bro. It's a perfect balance of life. City and country and suburban and urban, you get everything all in one, and they're not far from one another. So I gotta say I'm sorry for dogging you Air Max 95. The Air Max 95 now, this shoe itself is a perfect representation, the 95, of shoes that kind of made way through Atlanta itself. But this colorway, I can understand it, I can respect it, and I do like that they've done something different than us just slapping on another 1996 colorway at the end of the day and throw it on this shoe and just make it, you know, another 96 Olympic moment. Because that, I say, the Atlanta Olympics pushed Atlanta, catapulted Atlanta, and we've moved so far from that though now, and even a greater direction since then. But I will say the Atlanta Olympics definitely put us on the map and began our rise to where we are today. But we've always had it, you know, we got everything, bro. I'm sorry. And salutes to people from New York, LA, all y'all, respect all y'all, Miami, yeah, Florida, all that, you know what I'm saying? But I gotta represent for my city for once and be a little biased. But let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. I love y'all, I appreciate y'all as always, and I'm gonna end y'all off with an on-foot review.